Dad perfect events. During my son's college graduation, he handed me an envelope that read, "Dad, I'm not your son." My son kept glancing at his jacket pocket during the graduation ceremony. I noticed it during the processional when the graduates filed into Stanford Stadium, while 2,000 other students walked with their eyes forward, smiling at their families in the stands. My son Gerald's right hand kept drifting to his breast pocket, touching something there, then pulling away. The name's Victor Reynolds. I'm 58. Been an architect for 30 years. Built my firm from the ground up. And that day was supposed to be the proudest moment of my life. Gerald was taller than me now, had been since he was 16. Same dark hair I used to have before it went gray, same sharp jawline, but his eyes that day looked different, scared. The ceremony lasted 2 hours. When it ended, families flooded onto the lawn for photos. I found Gerald near the oak tree where we'd agreed to meet. "Congratulations, son." I pulled him into a hug. He held me tight, longer than usual. "Thanks, Dad." His voice cracked. My wife Barbara took photos with her phone. Gerald smiled for the camera, but that hand was in his pocket again, gripping something. "Your mother would have been proud," I said, knowing it was true. Patricia, my ex-wife, had died of cancer 5 years ago. She'd missed so much of Gerald's life, but she would have loved seeing this moment. Before dinner, Gerald said quietly, "Can we talk somewhere private?" My stomach dropped. After 22 years of raising this boy, I could read his body language like a book. Something was seriously wrong. "Sure. What's wrong? Not here?" He glanced around at the celebrating families. "There's a coffee shop off campus. Can we go there?" Barbara sensed we needed time alone and headed back to the hotel. 20 minutes later, Gerald and I sat in a corner booth at a nearly empty cafe. He ordered nothing, just sat across from me with both hands on the table, fingers laced together. "I need to show you something." He reached into his jacket and pulled out a manila envelope. Not a card, not a letter. A thick, official-looking envelope with a laboratory logo in the corner. He slid it across the table. I stared at it, not touching it. "What is this?" "Open it, Dad. Please." My hands shook as I tore open the envelope. Inside were several pages of documents. The first page had letterhead, Gene Tech Laboratories, DNA, Analysis Report. I looked up at Gerald. His eyes were wet. "Keep reading," he whispered. I read the summary. Probability of paternity, 0%. Based on the genetic markers analyzed, the tested male is excluded as the biological father of the tested child. The tested male. That was me. The tested child. That was Gerald. I read it again, then again. The words didn't change. I don't understand. My voice sounded far away. Gerald reached across the table, put his hand on mine. "Dad, you're not my biological father." The coffee shop seemed to tilt. I gripped the edge of the table. "How long have you known?" 3 years, his voice broke. "I'm so sorry. I found out junior year. 3 years. He'd been carrying this secret for 3 years. We had to do a genetics project for a molecular biology class. Everyone had to get samples from their parents. I used the sample you'd given me for the science fair in high school, remember? You'd saved it, I remembered. Years ago, Gerald had done a project on DNA, and I'd given him a cheek swab sample. Kept it in a file box, proud of his scientific curiosity. The results came back showing no genetic match," Gerald continued. "At first, I thought it was a lab error, so I bought an ancestry kit online, tested myself, and compared it to yours. Same result. 0 relation, 22 years. 22 years of bedtime stories and little league games and homework help and college visits. 22 years of calling him my son. Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I was terrified. Dad, you're the only real parent I've ever had. Mom was never really there, even before she died. You were everything. You worked overtime to send me to private school. You taught me how to ride a bike, how to shave, how to be a man. You're my father in every way that matters, but not biologically. No." He wiped his eyes. "Not biologically." I looked at the DNA report again, trying to process what this meant. "Does anyone else know you know?" Gerald took a shaky breath, and his face changed. "Barbara knows." My blood went cold. "What?" "I told her last year during Christmas break. I couldn't keep carrying it alone anymore. I thought maybe she could help me figure out how to tell you." The room started spinning. Barbara, my wife of 8 years, the woman I'd married thinking I was getting a partner who understood my devotion to my son. What did she say? Gerald's voice got quieter. She already knew, Dad. She's known for years. I felt like I was drowning. How does she know? She hired a private investigator to look into our family history when you two got serious about our marriage. She wanted to make sure there weren't any surprises. When the investigator found out about the paternity situation, she decided not to tell you. All those years, all those times Barbara had told people how wonderful it was, that I was such a devoted single father. How she'd positioned herself as the understanding stepmother who'd married a man with a teenage son. How grateful I'd felt for her acceptance. She's been sitting on this information for how long? Since before you two got married. 8 years, Dad. 8 years of living with a woman who knew the secret about my son. 8 years of her watching me sacrifice and provide and love this boy, knowing what she knew. Who is he? My voice was cold now. Who's my biological father? Gerald took a shaky breath. Albert Davidson? Your old college buddy? Albert, my former best friend from architecture school. We'd lost touch after graduation, but I remembered him well. Smart guy, always had big plans. Last I heard through mutual. Friends, he was an investment advisor in New York, divorced, no kids. Does Albert know? No. Barbara tracked him down years ago, but never contacted him. She said it would complicate things. I thought about all those years Barbara had played the understanding stepmother. All those times she'd made comments about how lucky Gerald was to have such a devoted father. How she'd positioned herself as the saint who'd married a man with a grown son, taking on that burden with grace. Now I understood. She'd used this information to make herself look generous while securing her position in my life and my bank account. I can't keep this secret anymore, Gerald said. I couldn't let you keep supporting me, keep sacrificing for me, without knowing the truth. He pulled out another document from the envelope, a check for $25,000 made out to me, signed by Gerald. What's this? Every penny I've saved from my internships over the last 3 years. I know it doesn't come close to what you've spent on me, but it's a start. I've already accepted a job at Google. I'll start in September. I'll pay you back everything you spent on my tuition, on raising me. Stop. My voice was sharp. Just stop. Gerald fell silent. I looked at my son, not my biological son apparently, but mine in every other way. I thought about the day he was born, how I'd held him in the hospital, counted his fingers and toes, promised to protect him forever. I thought about his first day of kindergarten, how he'd cried and clung to my leg, teaching him to swim at the community pool, helping him with algebra homework at the kitchen table, driving him to Stanford for some freshman orientation 4 years ago. None of that was a lie. All of that was real, but so was the betrayal. And it wasn't coming from my ex-wife who was dead. It was coming from the woman sharing my bed every night. I need time to think, I said finally. I understand. Gerald pushed the check toward me. I left it on the table and walked out. That night, alone in my hotel room, I called my lawyer buddy Steve. We'd known each other for 20 years, handled my divorce from Patricia, helped me set up the architectural firm. Steve, I need to ask you something confidential. What's going on, Victor? I told him everything. Gerald's revelation, Barbara's prior knowledge, the 8 years of deception. Steve was quiet for a long time. Victor, what Barbara did could constitute marital fraud in California. What do you mean? Think about it. She had material information about your family situation that she concealed before and during your marriage. She used this information to position herself as more understanding and accepting than she actually was. That's emotional manipulation for financial gain. Can you prove something like that? If you can get her to admit it, yes. California takes marital fraud seriously, especially when it involves deception about fundamental aspects of the relationship. I spent the next week playing detective. I downloaded recording apps on my phone, started asking Barbara casual questions about Gerald, about our early relationship, about how she'd felt taking on a teenager when we got married. She walked right into every trap I set. I just thought you were such a good man, she said one evening over dinner, taking care of a boy who wasn't even yours. It showed what kind of person you really are. I stopped eating. What did you say? Her face went white. She realized what she'd just admitted. I meant taking care of Gerald after Patricia died. Being such a devoted father. That's all I meant. No, Barbara, you said a boy who wasn't even yours. How would you know that unless you knew something I didn't? She started crying, which was her go-to move whenever she got caught in anything. But this time, I was ready. Phone recording everything. Victor, please, let me explain. I'm listening. I hired a private investigator when we got engaged, she finally admitted. I needed to know what I was getting into. When I found out Gerald wasn't your biological son, I thought it was better not to tell you. Why? Because you were such a good father to him. And because... She stopped. Because what, Barbara? Because I knew if you found out, you might not feel obligated to keep supporting him through college. And I'd already fallen in love with our life together. With you. There it was. The truth. She'd used this information to manipulate me emotionally while protecting her own interests. Who's the biological father? Some guy named Albert Davidson, investment advisor in New York. I found him through the investigator, but never contacted him. I didn't want to create drama. You didn't want to create drama? You've been living a lie for 8 years. I was protecting our marriage, Victor. I was protecting you from being hurt. You were protecting yourself, Barbara. You were making sure I stayed grateful for your understanding about Gerald while you enjoyed the benefits of my success. She broke down completely then, sobbing about how she'd never meant to hurt anyone, how she just wanted us to be happy. But the recording device captured every word of her admissions. The next morning, I called Steve. I got it, I said. I got her admitting everything. Good. Do you want to proceed with separation proceedings? I thought about Gerald, about the check he'd tried to give me, about the guilt he'd been carrying for 3 years. I thought about 8 years of living with a woman who'd been manipulating me through my love for my son. Yes, I want to proceed. Steve explained my options. Given the marital fraud, Barbara's deception about fundamental aspects of our relationship, and the recorded admissions, we had a strong case. California law would allow us to seek asset protection, reversal of spousal support obligations, and possibly restitution for emotional distress. She's not going to like this, Steve warned. She should have thought about that before she decided to play games with my family. I filed for separation that afternoon. Barbara would be served papers within 48 hours. But first, I had a conversation to finish with my son. I called Gerald that evening. He was back at his apartment near Stanford, probably packing for his move to the Google campus in Mountain View. Dad, how are you holding up? I'm okay, son. Listen, I need to tell you something. I confronted Barbara, silence on the other end. Gerald, what happened? I got her to admit everything. She's known about your paternity since before we got married. She hired a private investigator, found out about Albert, and decided to keep it secret. Oh, God. Dad, I'm so sorry. I never should have told her. Don't you dare apologize. You were a kid trying to deal with something impossible. She's a grown woman who made calculated decisions to deceive both of us. I told him about the recordings, about Steve, about the separation proceedings I'd filed. You're divorcing her? I'm divorcing her. What she did was marital fraud, Gerald. She used information about you to manipulate our entire relationship. Gerald was quiet for a moment. What does this mean for us? For you and me? Nothing changes between us. You're my son. You've been my son for 22 years, and you'll be my son for the rest of my life. Biology doesn't make a father, Gerald. Showing up every day makes a father. But the money, everything you spent on me? Stop right there. I didn't spend that money on a stranger. I spent it on my son. My choice, my pride, my privilege. What about Albert? I'd been thinking about that. I think we should contact him. He deserves to know he has a son. But that doesn't change anything between us. He might become like an uncle to you, or a friend, or maybe nothing at all. That's up to you two to figure out. The legal confrontation with Barbara happened 3 weeks later. Steve had prepared meticulously. We had the recordings, the timeline of her deception, and documentation of how she'd positioned herself in our relationship. Barbara showed up with her own lawyer, a sharp woman from downtown who probably cost more per hour than I used to make in a day. But when Steve played the recordings, even her lawyer's face changed. Mrs. Reynolds, the lawyer said during a recess, you admitted to concealing material information that affected the foundation of your marriage. That's textbook marital fraud. Barbara broke down completely. I never meant for it to go this far. I just wanted us to be happy. You wanted to be secure, I said. You used my love for Gerald to make yourself look like a saint while hiding information that wasn't yours to hide. The settlement negotiations were swift. Given the clear evidence of fraud and emotional manipulation, Barbara agreed to terms that protected my assets and interests. She forfeited any claim to spousal support, transferred her share of our joint assets back to me, and agreed to pay my legal fees. The house, the architectural firm, my retirement accounts, all stayed with me. Barbara moved back to her hometown in Oregon within a month. Gerald and I went to Hawaii that summer, just like we'd planned. We spent a week swimming, hiking around volcanoes, talking about his new job at Google. On our last night, sitting on the beach watching the sunset, he brought up Albert again. Have you thought more about contacting him? I have. I think you should be the one to reach out if you want to. It's your choice. What if he wants to be, I don't know, a father figure? I looked at my son. Gerald, I've been your father for 22 years. I changed your diapers, taught you to ride a bike, helped you with homework, drove you to college. Albert missed all of that. He might become someone important in your life, but he's not going to replace what we have. When we got back from Hawaii, Gerald decided to contact Albert through LinkedIn. The response came within hours. Albert was shocked, asked if they could video call. The call went well. Albert was a decent guy who genuinely had no idea he had a son. Turns out he'd had a brief relationship with Patricia during a college break when she and I were separated before we got back together and married. He was curious about Gerald, wanted to meet him, but understood the situation. I missed 22 years, Albert told Gerald during their first in-person meeting. Victor raised you, sacrificed for you, was there for everything that mattered. I respect that. I'd like to get to know you, but I'm not trying to be your dad. You already have one. 6 months later, Gerald got engaged to a woman named Sarah he'd met at Google. Smart, funny, kind. She knew the whole story and didn't care about any of it except that Gerald was happy. The wedding was small, held in a garden in Northern California. I wore my best suit, stood next to Gerald as he waited for his bride. Albert was there too, sitting in the third row. Not competing, not trying to claim a role he'd never earned, just happy to be included. When it came time for the father-son dance, Gerald didn't hesitate. He walked straight to me. Thanks for choosing me, Dad, he said as we danced. Every single day for 22 years. Thanks for letting me, I replied. Greatest privilege of my life. During his vows, Gerald said something that made me tear up. Sarah, when I think about what marriage means, I think about my dad. Not the man who shares my DNA, but the man who chose me every single day. He taught me that love isn't an accident. It's a decision you make over and over. That's the kind of husband I want to be to you. After the ceremony, Gerald pulled me aside. Dad, I have something for you. He handed me an envelope. Inside was a legal document, an adult adoption form. I'm 23 now, he said, old enough to choose. I want to legally change my name to yours officially. I want to make legal what's always been true. You're my father. I'm your son. My hands shook as I signed the papers. 2 months later, it was official. Gerald Reynolds, my son in every way that mattered, and now legally too. I framed the adoption certificate and hung it in my office right next to all the photos of us over the years. Gerald's first day of school, his high school graduation, our Hawaii trip, his wedding day. A timeline of choices, of daily decisions to love and be loved. The settlement money from Barbara, $150,000 in total after legal fees, went straight into a trust for Gerald and Sarah's future children, my grandchildren, who will know from day one that families are built on love and choice, not just biology. Albert became a regular part of our lives, but in exactly the right way. He's like the uncle Gerald never had, someone who cares about him, takes interest in his career, sends thoughtful gifts on holidays. But he never overstepped, never tried to claim a role he hadn't earned. The three of us found our rhythm naturally. I missed the first 22 years, Albert told me one day when we were watching Gerald and Sarah move into their first house. But I'm grateful for the man you raised. I couldn't have done better myself. I'm still practicing architecture, but I've cut back my hours significantly. Use the extra time to visit Gerald and Sarah, to be present for what comes next. Sarah's pregnant now. Due in the spring, they asked me to be in the delivery room. You were there for Gerald's birth, Sarah said. We want you there for this one too. Barbara lives somewhere in Oregon now, remarried to a retired doctor she met at a church social. I heard this through mutual friends, but I haven't spoken to her since the divorce was finalized. Sometimes I wonder if she ever thinks about what she threw away, but mostly I don't think about her at all. The anger I felt during those first weeks after Gerald's revelation has faded completely. Not because I forgave Barbara, I'm not sure I have, but because the anger served its purpose. It motivated me to seek justice, to protect what mattered, to clear the air completely. Gerald sends me photos from his job at Google almost weekly. He's working on artificial intelligence projects now, stuff I barely understand but admire tremendously. Last month, his team won some kind of innovation award. He called me immediately after the ceremony. Wish you could have been there, Dad. I'm proud of you every day, son. Don't need to be in the room to feel it. Looking back now, I'm grateful Gerald gave me that envelope on graduation day. Not because the revelation was easy, it nearly destroyed me for a while, but because it forced us to confront lies and come out stronger on the other side. The DNA test didn't take my son from me. If anything, it proved that he'd chosen me just as much as I'd chosen him. When he could have walked away, could have decided our relationship was built on a lie, he chose to fight for us instead. That takes courage. That takes love. That takes the kind of character you can't inherit through genetics. Barbara thought she was so clever, using my devotion to Gerald to secure her place in my life. She positioned herself as the understanding stepmother, the woman generous enough to marry a man with a teenage son. But she never understood what she was really seeing. It wasn't obligation keeping me dedicated to Gerald. It wasn't duty or social expectation or legal requirement. It was choice. Pure, daily, intentional choice. Every morning, for 22 years, I woke up and chose to be Gerald's father. And every day since that coffee shop conversation, he's chosen to be my son. Barbara tried to turn that choice into a transaction, something she could manipulate for her own benefit. She failed because she fundamentally misunderstood what family really means. Biology doesn't make a family. Love does. Choice does. Showing up does. Being present for the small moments and the big ones. Sacrificing when necessary. Celebrating achievements. Teaching lessons. Providing guidance. Creating traditions. Those are the things that build unbreakable bonds between people. Those are the things that make someone family. Gerald's biological father is a decent man who missed 22 years of his son's life through no fault of his own. He's building a relationship with Gerald now, and I'm glad for both of them, but Albert will always be catching up to something I lived from the beginning. I held Gerald when he was hours old, walked the floor with him during colic, taught him to tie his shoes and ride a bicycle, helped with homework and college applications, celebrated victories and comforted defeats. Those experiences, those daily choices to love and be present, that's what made me Gerald's father. Not DNA, not legal documents, not social conventions, just love, implemented through action, sustained through time. The greatest privilege of my life wasn't having a biological son. It was earning the right to be called dad by a remarkable young man who could have chosen anyone, but chose me. That choice was real. That choice was ours. And no DNA test, no manipulative spouse, no amount of deception could ever take it away from us. Some bonds are stronger than blood. They're forged through daily decisions, sustained through sacrifice, and proven through loyalty when everything else falls apart. Those are the bonds that last forever. True wealth isn't measured in the assets you accumulate, but in the relationships you choose to honor. And sometimes the greatest inheritance you can leave is teaching someone that they were always worthy of unconditional love. When life reveals that everything you thought you knew was built on lies, you discover what was actually built on truth. And those foundations prove unshakable because they were constructed with daily choices, not accidents of birth.